All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Gonzo Experience, where I find entrepreneurs truly from around the world. And today we have one from around the world. She's actually in Spain right now, and she's actually really from Russia, but she lived all over the world. So excited to bring she's become a new friend. We connected about, 6 months ago on Facebook, and we've been communicating and talking, and she's going to be a guest at an online event I'm having next month. Really excited to have Natalya Berdikyan. I said that right, Natalya, right?
It's perfect.
Berdikyan.
Well done. Yes.
I could be Russian. I love that. So, Natalya, I have your bio here, and I love that it says that you are a true global citizen. And I'm gonna read this bio so people can understand why. At the age of 16, Natalya and her curiosity and passion for challenging the status quo drove her to leave her post-Soviet single mom family and go from Moscow to California as an exchange student, living with 4 American families and attending 2 different high schools in one school year was truly life-changing. After returning to Moscow in 1997, her world has never been the same. Having lived in Russia, USA, the Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, and Germany, she is most grateful for a challenging and enriching multicultural life and business experience. From NASDAQ-listed HR corporate experience to having a Belgian chocolate factory after hiring EO RLA's leader, Warren Rustin, on top of Machu Picchu, Natalya started Life by Design Academy to support dreamers like herself to foster continuous growth and design a life and business they truly desire, beyond borders and boundaries, mentally or geographically. Her consultancy, Frontline Consulting, supports businesses to grow internationally. Being an active member of EO, which is Entrepreneurs Organization, and recently undergoing the certification of Core Energy Coaching, she's happy to share her journey in the secret of energy, which daily helps so many leaders around the world. Natalya, what a great bio, and you truly are a citizen of the world. I really love that. I think you're living the dream that most people think about, but never have the, we'll say, guts to go and get it. And since I've known you in the 6 months, I've lived vicariously through you by watching you travel on Facebook. You just went to Greece a while ago, and your pictures were amazing, and I felt like I was there with you. So congratulations on living a very intentional life. And you're really, your company, your website, Life by Design Academy, you're living it. You're like designing your life exactly the way you want it, and you're making it happen. So kudos to you. Very happy and jealous.
Well, thank you.
In a good way.
Well, everybody can have it, and that's the trick. The only thing that stands between us and our dreams is actually ourselves and whatever we bring on ourselves. Funny enough.
That is very true. I know I'm reading a book right now called Personality Isn't Permanent by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And, he says something very similar to you just said. And he said that, if you don't like your weight, well, it's the weight you're at is your decision. If you don't like your environment, well, it's quote unquote your fault. It's your decision. You're there because it's your decision, right? You don't like your relationships. You don't like your career. Everything in your life is based on your decisions, right? So even though we may not be happy, we have to realize we have the ability to make the decision to change everything that's not satisfying to us, everything that's not bringing us joy, and make the decision to find joy, correct?
That's very true. The power of choice, it's within us. And yet we keep on choosing for things that don't necessarily bring us fulfillment or happiness or satisfaction.
Why is that?
Well, there's so many different reasons. We are, brought up by the society and all its expectations, and we are expected to live a certain life in a certain way, have a certain picture, and nothing wrong with that picture, the house and the tree and the dog and the family and the kids and the business and all of that. And problem happens is when we live someone else's expectations and we kind of stop listening to ourselves and what do we want, what is the core and the essence of our soul actually want in this life, without trying to compete with everyone else. But the only person we should actually compete with is ourselves, and be the best version of ourselves and not like the neighbor or the next CEO somewhere else. Because then even if you achieve it, you're not going to be satisfied and fulfilled because it's not fundamentally your dream.
So it seems like a lot of people, I'll say most people, and I'm going to raise my hand. I'm not completely, 1,000% where I want to be in all these different areas of my life, but a lot of it is based on fear, and a lot of it is based on security. Would you agree?
Of course, and those are the fundamental, as we call them, the big four energy blocks. The fears, we call them gremlins, if you wish. You might think, not good enough, I can't do it, or don't have the capacity, or whatever else that actually holds us back. And the fear, unless you're running from the lion, technically is supposed to keep us safe. But in reality, what it does is it stops us from our full potential in the moment and not playing full out. So this is one of the blocks, right? So important to understand it, identify it, and give it a voice. And the next time you meet it, say, well, I hear you, but I'm not afraid of you, and actually I can do it, and that's what I want to do. But thank you for warming me, though, if that's okay. Imagine like this, the fear, the gremlin that you meet the next time, it tells you stuff because, it talks to you all the time, and that's not real. Fear is not real. It's projection of the future that doesn't actually exist in the now.
So true. So true. I feel like, our instincts of fear are, and you alluded to this with the lion, are, very caveman rooted, right? Where we needed that fear. We needed that instinct to, run away from the lion, the tiger that was trying to eat us, right? And just like really basic survival. Um, and while we still have that instinct in us, very few of us are going to experience being attacked by a lion when we walk out of our house, right? So it's basically, maybe putting that fear into more of a modern day perspective, right?
Exactly, yeah. But then you go to another one of the blocks, and that's assumptions, like you're afraid of the history repeating itself, right? It didn't work out before, so you happen the same way. So you have that expectation and that the past will repeat itself in the future or in the present. And so just because it happened in the past doesn't mean that it will happen again, but your mind blocks you in thinking so you don't act on it and you don't listen to your intuition because your brain is more dominant. But the funny thing is, energy wise, the heart and the gut has more energy than the mind. So if you resonate at a high level and you connect to that intuition, technically you decisions, and those would be the better conscious choices. Well, better, there's no judgment what's good or bad. There is no mistake, but it would be more connected to who you truly are.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I wanted to, you do a lot of different things on, with your Life by Design Academy. But I want to specifically focus on one of the areas that really interests me. And it's about managing your energy to be a good leader, right? You call it energy leadership. On your website, it says transforming your workforce and your life from the core. So I want to learn a little bit more about energy leadership. You talk about two different kinds of leadership energy. And so why don't we start with that first, and then we can move on.
Sure. Well, let's start with what core energy actually is. It's actually an energy that is at the core of your thoughts, emotions, and actions that relate to how people see themselves, those around them, and the world itself, right? So your core energy is where your energy is focused in any given moment. So your core energy has the tremendous influence on your performance as a person, as a leader, as a parent, as anybody, and indeed in all aspects of your life and work. So, for instance, core energy includes whatever brings to the situation or the task. So basically it influences it's influenced by external and internal factors, meaning that consider core as total energy available to you in any given moment. So it's the core of what drives the performance. And so what happens is, if you keep on worrying about the past and feeling guilty about the past, and you're fearful about the future that hasn't happened yet, you deprive yourself from that energy you have in the moment. So by definition, less is there for you to perform to your very best. And I explain about those two kind of energies you're talking about. So there's a catabolic one, which is a disruptive and draining energy, giving limited view to the situation and reducing your choices. So it impacts your mental, physical, and emotional health. So like I say, if we keep on feeling guilt, thinking what should have happened, what you should have done, could have done, whatever, that reduces from your energy in the moment, and it clearly impacts your mental and physical state, right? You keep on thinking all sorts of things emotionally, etc. And what happens with catabolic, why it is also physically draining, because sometimes people feel like, I got no energy to do that, I don't want to do that. Luckily they might get out of bed, but it's actually physically takes from your body cells. So if you stay in that state where you feel like a victim of life, situations and people, actually victim of yourself, you physically feel, right? And the thing is that energy attracts like energy. So you imagine you with that energy, you also attract the same situation, same type of people, and just keep piling like a big ball, right? So anabolic energy is this constructive, healing, building force. Imagine you stand on top of the mountain, you spread your arms up and you're welcoming the world. It's that impactful, powerful force. It's constructive, a building force, right? And it helps people to move forward, to achieve powerful and sustainable results in their life and business. It's when you're present in the moment, when your fearfulness, when you're in that flow, you see plenty of opportunity, you're in that collective state of mind, in collaboration. Amazing, you're fully engaged in the moment, acting to your full potential. So that where do you want to be?
Well, I got to tell you, I do want to be on top of the mountain with my arms spread out. So I'm thinking more anabolic.
Exactly, well done. So the higher you go, the better you feel, the better you perform, the more abundance you attract. And we attract not what we want, but who we are. So
Ooh,
speaking your tongue,
that's big.
you can change your personality, you can change your habits, you can change your energy. And here is the secret to you: you can shift your energy from catabolic to anabolic. Bit more details on that energy stuff. So there are 7 levels of energy, and see if you recognize them as they come along. So you have the level 1, which is the victim state, right? So it's basically the kind of state where you feel lost, guilty, stuck, fearful, lack of choice, right? Everything happens to you, you're the effect of life, situations, people, etc. I feel total empathy, kind of like I lose, I hate myself, I'm not good enough, can't do it, etc., etc., etc. So very low energy, and you can stay there for a minute or a day or a whole life. And the good thing is, if you know that, you can actually choose to do it or not to do it, because every level has positive disadvantages and advantages. The advantage of that level, if you're feeling like a victim, you don't want to do anything, sure as hell someone else is going to do it for you, right? So you can actually use it in a way to your advantage. Well, anyways, it's still draining, so you don't want to be there. Level 2 is the antagonist, is the fighter mode. Kind of sets you in motion into the action, and then you feel the anger, the conflict, resistance, blame. As a manager and leader, you start pointing fingers. You say, well, I could do it better, it's all their fault. You kind of like, you lose, I wins. One, basically, I lose, I hate my, it's like, why is all happening to me? And it's very egocentric, not in the sense that there's a big ego and you have the power, but you feel like everything is happening to you. So that ego is making you small, actually, right? So the level 1 and 2 is all about the ego and the need to possess, the need to have. Hence, the material world is pretty much around that, because people feel they grasp on stuff, and that's a very difficult place to be in, because everything affects how you feel. And then you go to level 3, which is the rationalizer. You kind of start taking a responsibility for your actions, for your life. You justify things. You think it's fine enough. You compromise others, forgive yourself. You have those coping mechanisms, right? The problem is with tolerance and coping, if you stay there long enough, you actually know it's not good enough. You start rationalizing, but you hired this expert, you paid all the money for finding this person, it's a lot of money, training, etc., etc. He's good enough, I don't want to go bother again finding another person. But in the back of your head, you actually know this is not going to work out. Marriage, 10 years in the marriage, you've been in it, you justify, but everybody's going through the same thing. Enough, lots of reasons you find yourself, you rationalize, but at the end, long enough you stay in it, you tap right into level 1 and feeling like a victim, right? So then the level 4, and we at the 3, we starting to go into the anabolic energy, right? So destructive one, and you go into anabolic. Level 4, basically, if you want to start raising your energy, from 2 to 3, you start taking responsibility. You start looking at yourself and saying, okay, what is my place in this? How can I change it? What is my responsibility? And start taking it. To move to level 4, which is the helper, the servant, you have the care and compassion and empathy for others, and you care about service to others. It's all about you win, right? So if you want to move up, or you want to move someone else up, you start asking, and who can I be a service to? How can I support? How can I help? So it's less about you, right? Which is in the first 2, and more about the others. And funny thing is, you probably know, when you start thinking more of others, you stop concentrating on yourself, and you actually more energy, because you feel appreciated, you feel like you're making a difference, etc., etc. Kind of finding that purpose and the meaning, instead of feeling being as the victim of everything. Now, the negative thing of it, like I say, everything has positives and negatives, advantages, disadvantages. If you are in the 4, and you have your employees coming to you with all these problems, and you want to fix everybody's problems, and you want to be of support, and you feel either, if you're not appreciated and it drains you, you tap again into level 1. So it's very important to have the self-care there. And nowadays, a lot of people are trying to get through the crisis, albeit in the family situation, it's work, it's family. They're being supportive to everybody else. They're trying to save the business, but they're forgetting about themselves. And they feel very much drained, physically as well as mentally. They're just exhausted, right? Because they're just running, and giving it all away, but not having enough self-care. And like in the airplane, help yourself first, and then help help yourself, and then help the child, because you cannot help the other if your energy is drained, right? So then we get to the number 5, and that's the state of opportunistic behavior, and it's a collaborator. Lots of entrepreneurs are in that state. It's all about win-win, solution-focused, peace, confidence. You accept what is, so you build without necessarily in the faith as well, that you don't have to have a proof. Faith is more than a proof to you. The sense of fulfillment kicks in there. You get into more in the states of joy, etc., you know that we all win or nobody plays. You know, it's not about me and me winning, etc., etc. And that's the place where lots of ideas happen. And on the negative side, you know, and you know, entrepreneurs, you come up with so many ideas and you kind of get lost in those ideas and you lose focus. And the thing is, it also affects other people. It ignites them, but then if there is no right direction and an implementation, people get lost in all of that. And then they tap again into the catabolic and the anabolic energy, you know. So staying focused, self-care, very important. And now in the times of the crisis now, people think, well, okay, well, why is it happening? And you are the low, kind of like a set of glasses. You put the level 1 or level 5 glasses on. So if you look at through the level 5, there you think, okay, what's the opportunity here? And what can I learn? And at the end of the day, all the experiences are there for learning and growing. And it doesn't matter if you fail. There's no such thing as fail. It's all about continuous improvement. Mastery is not about perfection. It's about continuous improvement. So you learn and you move forward and you create this great dream of yours. There's no right or wrong. You cannot make a mistake there. And level 4 is a creator, is a visionary. So, you know, all these geniuses that come up with stuff, they come at the level 6. It's that huge sense of intuition, is the synergy, joy, flow, wisdom, consciousness. It's all about we all always win. And kind of like it's that state between, you know, like meditative state, or the state when the artist paints and doesn't think of the hours. It's when you get into that flow and you don't care about someone else's opinion if you're right or wrong. It doesn't exist there. It's how Steve Jobs came up with his stuff. It's like how we have Teslas of this world, you know. It's that state of genius and flow and intuition. That's the thing. The more connected you are with who you are, and hence the core energy coaching that we do, it's the essence of you. Because the more disconnected you become and you lose that authenticity and you're fearful about everything that happens, the less you are in that state of higher productivity and being in that moment with your genius, because we all have it. It's that full potential that we have that we can tap into, and it's right there. We're just too busy about worrying and being fearful. And so then the level 7, total consciousness. It's not necessarily a physical state to be in for a long time, but you can tap into it, be it meditation. And there are many different ways of meditation, not necessarily doing the, you know, the yoga position and the but meditative state, be it in the dream, you know, that lucid dream when you're not awake and answers come to you. It's that place of non-judgmental state, you know, when you can be an observer. So if you want to go up in the energies, if you start thing, which is hard because we all judge ourselves, we judge everything. So the more we practice it, the higher we go, that total objectivity. And also try practicing being an observer, participant and observer at the same time, not having the attachment to the outcome. And now it's very difficult. We want to achieve great stuff. But the thing is, if we keep on being attached to the outcome and we don't play full in our potential in the moment because we're too fearful that we're not going to achieve the outcome, when the other stuff comes along, we don't notice it and we don't use that energy. So another one of the tricks, that's the state of oneness and having no fear and having that unconditional love. You know, like time and money is an illusion. That's that state. Everything is an illusion at the end of the day. And there's no winners or losers at that state. So imagine that the more conscious our environment is, now with the crisis, people feel more connected. And we are connected. Whatever happens in China affects everybody in US. Whatever decision you make right now affects the future, and not only yours. The more you're the higher energies, the creativity, and the better the person, don't have all that draining stuff. And just a different perception of life and everything that happens. And all the challenges, they don't have to be so painful and challenging. And it's okay. Whatever happens is okay, because it will be okay, because you're living in the moment. And it's only in the now you can change anything, by being present in the moment. So yeah, and that's how you can create the dream you want, one step at a time.
Wow. 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 I don't think I've never interrupted somebody for so long. I just was like taking that all in, and it was like just getting showered with incredible, massive, incredible information that I needed. I think most of us need this. You know, I feel like at different times of my life, even of the year, the month, sometimes I'm on different levels. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm on level 2, and sometimes I feel like I'm on level 5 or 6. I don't know if I've reached 7 yet. I want to get there. Maybe I've had moments of it, but uh, is that true? Do you feel like people kind of, will go up and down to the different levels throughout
Definitely,
months or days
definitely.
or years, whatever it is?
Throughout an hour. And that's the thing there, like I said earlier, there's no right or bad energy level. Point one, we do fluctuate between the levels. The thing is that once we're aware of them and we can detect where they are, and by the way, we have an energy leadership index assessment for that, for individual assessments and the teams, to see the dynamics of it. But you can actually understand what is your predominant level, and working through those programs, you can have a higher energy level as an average predominantly. And then at the same time, what's important to puts you at the stress level. So because it's under stress that we tap into the lower energies, right? So it's important to know what actually gives you that stress. And those energy blocks are some of those stressors as well. And other ones like, spiritual influencer, when you're not living to your purpose and your values, and you're not in alignment with yourself and the other people, that drains your energy, and you feel you go right down. You feel like a victim of it. You're not comfortable with the team that you work with. Mental influencer, it's too boring, or it's too too difficult, and it also drains you, makes you feel uncomfortable, so you're not performing to your best, and again you tap into the lower thing.
I think that's when you hear people.
Physical.
I think that's when you hear people say things like, my soul is dying, right? Or that sucked the life out of me, right? I think those are kind of some verbal expressions of
Yeah,
being in that level 1 or 2, right?
exactly.
You know,
Like if you're not authentic and you feel like you constantly, I mean, I've had examples, plenty of examples in my personal life. If you don't feel like you're being yourself and you're constantly adapting to other people's expectations, and it's great level, but you're no longer yourself, you're not aligned with your values, eventually it drains you out. It's slow, and that's how people get into burnouts. They're just doing the thing they're not actually loving, and it's not their purpose, it's not what gives them the energy and thrills them, it's not their passion. Or nowadays with the crisis, people are working from home and they don't socialize, and social influencer for them is important. A physical influencer, if you can really see the difference if you do your daily sports and you feel more upbeat than if you don't, for you, for example. It's an example. So knowing yourself and what influences your energy is very important. And once you know that, you know how to change those influences and create the environment that is more productive for you.
Natalia, I feel like a lot of people, they get stuck in level 1 or 2 for a long time, and they feel like, oh, this is just my destiny. This is my personality. This is who I am. Innately, I'm here because I'm here, right? But but as you said in the beginning too, like, and we talked about Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who just wrote this book, Personality is Impermanent. Um, I'm reading it right now. You totally can change your personality, right? In fact, he says, I think he quotes somebody saying that if you're not embarrassed by who you were a year ago or even 6 months ago, then you're not growing, right? And I love that because it's like, I look at myself a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I have said to myself, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. And I guess it's a good thing, right? Because I've grown, I've learned, I've evolved, right? I've become more of a refined and just person that has changed and evolved. And so I guess if you're not embarrassed by who you were a year ago, then you're stuck. You haven't pushed yourself to the next level.
Yeah, you're just not aware. And what you mentioned, you surround yourself with different type of people. I mean, friends you had maybe 20 years ago, some of them are not your best friends anymore, and it's okay. We're all evolve. Being part of entrepreneurs organization changed my life to a big extent. It's, you surround yourself with the different type of people that are more aligned with your values, with your purpose. You learn from them, they mentally stimulate you. All of this influences, it also influences your energy, and of course you evolve. It's like anything in life, you either grow or you die. It's like it's a rule of nature, like a tree, and yeah, some people get bored if they don't learn something, some
Oh
people
my God.
don't, but as long as it doesn't drain your energy, it's fine. You might not be accepting those. And I mean, we evolve with people. Some stay friends, some don't stay friends. And uh, everybody has different needs and different drivers. And some are just not aware that it can change. Like you said, it's we can design our future. And if we know that it is possible, and that's what I love to do with this methodology, give people the opportunity to change perceptions and understand, see that there is a different way. And I mean, I come from a completely different background, completely different country. I've seen the world, I changed my personality, and I less so say, well, this is how I am, because I know it's not. I can be whoever I decide to be. Maybe a little work is needed, but that's okay.
Not for all of us. There's always work to do. There's always work to do.
But it's a
Uh,
choice. You cannot make someone, that's the thing, and with coaching or with the partners or friends, you want to help because there is a different, you might say, better way. There's no better or worse, but people can't change or evolve unless they want to, unless they're open for it. And that's where coaching comes into place, because it really takes people from functional to their optimal selves, to their greatest potential they can have, and improve their lives and reach that sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in all areas of life. And that's amazing. I if I knew that coaching existed 10 years ago, because in Europe it's not as popular as it is in US, but it is what it is. It was an interesting journey, and I'm happy that I am where I am now, and there's a long way to go.
well, it came to you. It came to you right at the right time, whether you planned it or not. Like it was presented to you at the time you needed it the most, right? Now you're
Yeah,
able to help others with it too, right?
like all in life, energy attracts like energy, and we meet, like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So and it was proven to me, and it's amazing.
That's beautiful. Hey, so if people want to learn more, like, specifically more about the 7 levels of
Hmm.
energy and more about you, getting in touch about your coaching and just learning more about you in general, what are the best places to go for this?
Best places to go for is you. Well, they can start with my website and just contact me directly. It's www.lifebydesign-academy.com. Natalya Berdikyan. If you can repeat that once more in your perfect accent, that's
Yep.
great.
Yep. www. Well, everybody knows
No, no,
www.
no.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I was talking about my last name.
Oh, your last
Found it most challenging, but you did so well. You see, fear.
I did do very well, didn't I?
You did. You did. Let the
Berdikyan,
fear not stop. Perfect.
right? All right.
Perfect. Yeah.
I feel good. And then I want you to say my last name.
Mammano.
Oh, you got it. You got it. Next place for you to live is Italy. I can feel it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, Natalya, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Gonzo listeners, please visit her website. It is super fantastic. If you want a direct connection with her, feel free to get in touch with me, David at thegonzoexperience.com. Be happy to connect you with her personally. She is wonderful. I've been posting a lot on Facebook about things that I'm thinking about, things that are inspiring me of where I want to be with my next step. And that inspired Natalya to reach out to me. And we started just a dialogue, and we become really good overseas, we'll say online friends, and I hope to meet you someday. But you're doing some great things for the world, and your energy is super fantastic, and I'm feeling it across the ocean. And I think you're getting me knocking on the door of the level 7. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy about that. Again, there's no right or bad or good energy, but we want to be at the cause of it and really have the choice. And we do have a choice.
We are in charge of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, Natalya, thanks again. I appreciate it. I look forward to keeping in very good touch with you.
Same. Thank you so very much. And keep the spirit up and the energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you, Gonzo Experience listeners. Appreciate you. Make sure to rate and review us and tell us what you think about us. Always trying to get better. Always trying to raise my energy level to the next step for the world, to make it a better place, doing my part. So thank you, Gonzo listeners. Thank you, Natalya. Everybody have a great day. Make sure to stay awesome.
Thank you.